Well, hey y'all, it's Dan. I want to welcome y'all to my home in the sticks. It's Sunday. Relatively nice for now. We're supposed to be getting some more rain, but let me tell you what I want to talk about. At the beginning of this year, towards the beginning of spring, I started working on some shiitake logs because we sure do love mushrooms out here at our home. And I started actually trying to raise shiitake mushrooms here at our home. So let me get set up and I'm going to show you what it's looking like as of today. So give me a second. I'll be right back with you. Okay, y'all. I don't know how the lighting is, but we're in the back of my shop right now where I have my shiitake logs stored. I'm gonna show you what they look like because I actually walked by them the other day and I was like, wow, I can't believe it. But let me show you. All right, let's see if we can get into focus. These are actually my shiitake logs. These are all oak logs. And as you can see, the mycelium is starting to penetrate the wood real good. See if you can see that. See how the mycelium is starting to take over the logs, and that's a good thing. We want it to do that. Let's see if we can focus in on that. There we go. I actually did some little bitty small logs too. I'm gonna give those a couple of friends that like mushrooms and see what they think about them. But as you can see, the mycelium is really starting to take over the log, and that's what we want. This guy right here, I don't believe, he was kind of like a test one. And he doesn't look like he's doing too well. I don't think, I was under the assumption that this was like a water oak, but I don't know what species of tree it actually is. So that's what it's looking like. And what happens is, once that mycelium actually takes over those logs, they will actually start flushing and producing fruit. As you can see on each one of these logs, I'll show you on this one because he's up high. I actually drilled holes in these logs, and I'll get out the tools that I used and show you what I had done. But I actually inoculated this log with a strain of shiitake, and I covered the actual hole up with soy wax. Or you can use beeswax, and that seals up the hole so nothing could actually get in there and eat your shiitake mycelium. So that's what it's looking like, and hopefully these guys are going to start putting out in the next couple of months. Maybe they'll start putting out some fruit. So let me go get the tools out and I'll show you what I used. Alright, so let me show you the stuff that I used to inoculate those shiitake logs, and then once I show you what I used, we'll talk about why I chose what I chose and why I did it. So let me get you down here. All right, this is actually some shiitake spawn. This is a hot strain, or NC hot, and this is actually some wine cap stropharia, if you can see that. And this is the actual sawdust spawn that I used. I use a high-speed bit to actually drill into the oak logs. It has a stop on it, so it only goes down, X amount of inches. When you get these things, you have to get the adapters to fit onto a high speed, like an angle grinder. That's actually what I used. And this is an inoculation tool. And of course, you need some type of wax. And this is a soy-based wax that I used. Of course, and you're going to need one of these to go over your hole. Now, let's see. Okay, I had to pause it for a second because I had to put that sawdust spawn back in the refrigerator. Why did I choose shiitake? Well, shiitake is it's a good mushroom, and they're hard to find. You can't really find them in East Central Mississippi. Maybe if you go to like a Whole Foods store or something like that, you might be able to find them. But it's an excellent mushroom to eat. Well, I like mushrooms, period. But I just decided to give it a go because we like mushrooms, and I've eaten shiitakes before, and they're real good. The wine cap stropharia, or Ragusa annulata is the name of it. Wine cap stropharia, wine caps, mushrooms. Those actually grow, and you can use something like wood chips, natural wood chips, anything like that. They grow real well in that, and they're not just terribly too hard to grow. You have to have. They don't really like a lot of light. So I actually have 2 wine cap stropharia beds on the north side of my shack. It gets a little bit of sun, but I don't know, we're just going to see. These shiitake logs, they like about 80% shade. So you noticed I had some shade cloth cover them, and I have them on the west side of my shop because I have a lot of trees that grow over, so they're shaded pretty good. And as far as the watering, I let the man up above water them when it rains. I'd imagine once we start getting into the real summertime months that I'll eventually start, hosing them down. Maybe, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. But the spawn, the shiitake spawn, it comes in a few different forms. You can get it in plugs, the little wooden dowels, which is what I first started out with, or you can actually get the shiitake spawn. It's actually the mycelium mixed up in sawdust. And I think just from doing more research on it, you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck when you get the sawdust spawn. So that's what I did. I think I ended up inoculating maybe 25 logs. The species of wood that they suggest you use. Now, again, I'm not a mushroom expert or anything like that. I'm just somebody that loves mushrooms, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna try my hand at it and see what happens. But the shiitake prefer the oak species, white oak preferably, red oak, water oak, pin oak, any kind of oak will do really. The tree has to be harvested live. It can't be a piece of oak that you had, just laying out on the ground and it's been sitting there for a while. If you trimmed up, you have oak trees on your property or something like that. It's got to be a live branch, a live piece of wood, a live piece of oak. Those logs, those oak logs were harvested, I want to say in January maybe, when it was still cold out. And I went to a buddy of mine's house that lives to the north of me. He's got a lot of oak trees over there at his house that he needed to thin out. And I went over there and harvested some oak trees, and that's actually where those logs came from. I have some pictures too. I'm gonna throw up in this video and just show you, you know, what I built and what I used to do it. But if you're interested in it, there's a few companies that I went through to get some of the equipment that I use, like this thing right here. And how does this work? Actually, you plunge this down into your mycelium, and it actually goes up into this hole. I don't know if you can see it. There's actually a hole. And once you drill your hole out with this high-speed bit, you stick this on top of the hole, and you plunge the mycelium into the hole that you just created. And then from there, you use your wax to cover up the hole. So, you know, bugs, ants, anything like that, critters, anything that, you know, you don't want them to eat your mycelium out of the hole that you just did. So you cover it up with the wax. Now, they say, oh, let's get back to the companies that I used. I went through a company called, well, 3 actually, that I went to. There's a company called Fungi Perfecti. Let's see, Mushroom Mountain. I believe they're out of Carolina somewhere. And Field and Forest Products. Field and Forest Products is where I actually got these things from. And I went through Mushroom Mountain to get my shiitake spawn. And it is, from what I understand and from what I've read, the shiitake spawn comes in, there's 3 different varieties of it. There's kind of like a cold shiitake spawn, a warm shiitake spawn. I don't know if spawn is the correct word to use, but there's a cold, a warm, and a hot. I chose the hot variety of shiitake of the spawn because here in East Central Mississippi it's just really hot. And just by going from that, and I did those, I want to say January, February, and March maybe, and the mycelium is already starting to, I don't think I did that January, February, some in February, and maybe the first week or so in March. But anyways, as you can see, or as I've shown you, the mycelium is actually starting to take over the logs, and that's a good thing. But what will happen is, they say it takes, if you start your logs, let's just say in January, it could possibly take almost a year for the mycelium to actually take over the log. As you've seen on mine, it's been, let's see, February, April, May. It's been a few months with mine. It's already starting to, the mycelium is already starting to take over the log. So we'll just have to see. There's a couple of different ways that you can get the logs to fruit. Myself personally, I'm just going to let the logs flush and fruit on their own. I'll just say fruit on their own. You could actually take those logs, once the end of the log is totally covered in the white stuff, the mycelium, they say that you could actually soak the logs in cold water for 24 hours, and a few days later, the shiitakes will start sprouting out of all of those little holes that you created. I don't know, I've seen it done, I've seen videos on it, and I believe it is possible, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just cross that bridge whenever we get to it. What I will do is I'm going to leave some links down at the bottom on those 3 companies that I had told you that I went through. There's quite a few companies online that actually do it. I particularly liked Mushroom Mountain because they're in, I want to say either North Carolina or South Carolina. Trad Cotter is the guy's name. I hope I pronounced that right. But anyway, check out his website, Mushroom Mountain. The guy is just jam up. He's got a lot of videos, and this guy actually does a lot of scientific work with fungi, especially mushrooms, and it's just really some cool stuff. So, you know, check out his website if you're interested in, you know, doing your own shiitake mushrooms at the house. What I will say is, if you decide to do it, it is labor intensive. You have to put a little work into it. You have to harvest the shiitake, the oak logs. If you know somebody that has some branches or something on an oak tree that needs to be trimmed back. And it takes a little bit of time to drill all the holes out. And I wish I'd have done some video on that to show you how I actually did it. But the holes I actually drilled in a diamond pattern all the way down the log. Maybe if I get some more logs towards the end of the year, this year, hopefully, the Lord wills, I'll do a little video on that, because they say that the mycelium, the sawdust spawn, it'll stay in the refrigerator for 6 months maybe, or something like that. That I don't know. That just has to be seen. And maybe we'll do a video on something like that. But if you really like mushrooms, this is a good way to do it. And it's pretty cool because you can get the kids involved in it, because you're drilling holes. You do like an assembly, like a workstation type thing. Somebody drilling a hole, somebody plugging the hole with the spawn, somebody hitting it with the wax. So it's a pretty cool thing. The wine cap stropharia, the wine cap mushrooms, they are closely related, from what I understand and what I've read, they are closely related to a portobello. I wanted to do mushrooms that I could do outside. Really don't have the space to do any cultivation inside, so I just decided to do some mushrooms. I tried doing some mushrooms that I could actually do outside and store them outside. Let's see. If you have, I believe I had in a couple of my past videos, I actually have a little piece of my property that's got some woods that are still standing. Oh, y'all, on the side note, let me show you those woods that I was talking about. It's over there. Those are the woods that I was actually talking about, thinking about putting those shiitake logs maybe next year. But it's shaded real good, but it's a little ways off. Also, another side note, these logs are anywhere from, let's see, 3 to 4 foot in length, and the diameters are anywhere from, let's see, diameters are anywhere from, I don't know, 4 inches to 9 inches in diameter. Let's see. Whoop. There we go. That's a little bit better. Sorry about that. Anywhere from 3 inches across to 9 inches across. So, anywhere from, I want to say, 3 to 9 inches maybe. I've read 4 to 7 inches, so it's just whatever you can get. So I wanted to throw that at you too and show you what I was talking about. And I thought that probably would be a real good place to put the mushrooms, but the only problem is they're pretty heavy. The logs are anywhere from, I think, 3 to 4 foot long, so it take a little work getting them out there. So we're trying it out here behind my shop, and maybe next year, if it does pretty well, maybe we'll think about relocating it down there to that little spot of the woods that I have on my property that's still actually a little piece of woods that has trees, and it's shaded real well, because the shiitakes really like shade. 80% work anyways. So just wanted to show y'all that. I saw it, so I said, well, you know what, let me share it with y'all. And it's something cool to get into, especially if you like mushrooms. The cost is not really that bad. I don't remember what I paid for the shiitake spawn. It wasn't all that much. I want to say it was 25 bucks for a 5-pound bag or 4-pound bag. It's not really that much. The equipment, it does get a little pricey, and the only reason why I went with this because it's brass and it'll last a long time. And the high-speed cutter, it's a little on the pricey side, but it should last for 1,000 logs maybe. I don't know. We'll just see. But anyway, I wanted to bring y'all along on that and show you what my shiitake logs were looking like. And if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, drop them down at the bottom. If I can answer them, I will. If I can't, I'll find the answer. So consider subscribing if you want to. Throw one of those up too. And again, I'll put those links to those companies down at the bottom. See y'all, it's not about all the things that you can get, but it's going to be really about all the things that you can get back. And we'll see you in the next video.